listening to Misery Loves Company, coming to you live at youtube.com/MLC Podcast.
Hey, I'm gay.
Okay, so good. I'll do it for Gustav. He's done a lot for the show. All right, so I go to a doctor. I've always had skin issues, and at that point, I didn't know what it was. So I would go to different doctors, and I don't know. Sometimes in a plan that you go to different doctors because your plan switches and you're in network, out of network, et cetera, et cetera. So, I probably switched insurance plans for whatever reason. And this is like 1989. So I went to this doctor on like 28th and Park, which is not like the fanciest part of Park Avenue. Park Avenue fancy is like, in the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s. So it's not the fancy part of Park Avenue, but you still feel like I'm going, my doctor's on Park Avenue, must be a good doctor. So anyway, I have bad skin. It's called Haley. You can look it up. Gustav probably already knows what it is. But anyway, it's like from heat and stress and anything that basically makes you sweat, like heat, humidity, stress, it makes it worse. And then you basically get it where the skin rubs against each other, like underarms, groin, ass, because, it's whatever. That's where you get it. So one doctor, so they didn't know what it was yet. That's the long and the short of the story. So they didn't know what it was yet. So my dermatologist was like looking at it where I had it in different places. So it's really bad. So I guess, I showed him like I had it in like between my ass cheeks, So he does like well, this is really bad. So he does like a so they do a biopsy or whatever down there. So I've told a story, but never here. I told it to my wife. It's really like ridiculous, but it just goes to show how incompetent people are. So anyway, so my doctor does like a biopsy to check it, whatever, because I probably had it in my ass the worst. So he goes, so he calls me on New Year's Eve. It was a weekday. It was a New Year's Eve, probably going into 1989. He calls me, on my landline. We didn't even have cell phones. He calls me. I pick up. He goes, oh, your test results came back. So I go, oh. So he goes, you have herpes. You have anal herpes. And I'm like, no, I don't. He goes, no, you do. And then he goes, so I was like, what? He goes, he goes, do you have sex with men? I'm like, what the? I go, New Year's Eve? New Year's Eve. So I knew he was wrong. Like I knew he was wrong. It turned out he was 100% wrong. So I went to another doctor. He's like, no, and then I don't know if the next doctor figured it out. I think the next doctor might have figured it out. But even the next doctor didn't catch on right away. So I think he had to see it under my arms. Once he saw it, my next doctor, the one doctor who figured out what it was, he saw it. He didn't cure it. I didn't cure it for another 20 years or whatever. But anyway, I showed him under my arms, the new doctor, and he was like, he goes, I think that's Haley. And then, sure enough. But anyway, I was like, where'd you send the fucking lab results to? It's like, he was implying I was a closeted homosexual. This is the Park Avenue doctor. He said he basically saying he's implying, even when I was like, no, that's how is that? That's not even possible. And he basically saying, so you don't have sex with men. I'm like, what? So anyway, I shouldn't even tell that story. But anyway, that's so I knew he was wrong because I wasn't having sex with men. And also I was like, how could he be so wrong? Like the lab results came back and he called me on New Year's Eve, literally New Year's Eve. So and then the phone call got real awkward because he was like, oh, you're in denial. I'm like, you're just a shitty doctor. So to this day, and again, he was wrong. I have Haley, and it's all gone now. And I figured out how to get rid of it, but it took forever. And doctors tried a bunch of different things. And in the summer, I still get it because it's too hot and too humid. that there's no way I can not fucking have it. The heat and humidity just win. You know, July and August. I have it right now. I'm not going to show you, but I mean, I have it, and you know, it doesn't look good. But the fact that the lab results, I was like, fuck you and your fucking lab results. Anyway, that's it. Gustav, you happy that I had to humiliate myself? When a doctor tells you what you have and you know you don't have it. Like, I wasn't getting fucked in the ass like in my sleep. I didn't have any gay roommates. Nobody was coming into my room and sticking it to me. So to this day, I question doctors. You know, even with the surgery, I was like, I mean, even with the hernia, I was like I'm very, because most people just think doctors are gods, like they never get anything wrong, and I'm much more like, you sure you're right about this? You sure you're right about this? I'm very suspicious about doctors, and you know, they know what they're talking about. I'm like, do you? Because are you gonna say I have ass herpes too? And now we have a new title, ass herpes. I can't believe Gustav got that story out of me. I only did anybody else, I'm not gonna tell it. But and Gustav brought it up. I said I would say it at the end. I thought everybody would forget. Not Gustav. Nothing gets by him. Nothing gets by Gustav. That's why when Gustav's like, Chad, I was at that show. Maybe Gustav was my doctor. Did he work at the doctor's office? Because whenever Chad tells a lie, Gustav's like, Chad, I was at the show. Remember that girl in South Carolina, the black girl who did great, and blah blah blah. Anyway, Gustav, you win. But that was, you know, it's an embarrassing story, but it's more like the doctor was an idiot. I mean,
I'ma do my stuff.